Hiking the West Coast Trail is a grueling way to have the time of your life. The trail was established in the early 1900s as a route to safety for shipwreck survivors washed up on the southwest coast of British Columbia's Vancouver Island. Hacked out of the nearly impenetrable coastal forest, there are stretches where survivors must have faced a grim prospect that it might have been more humane to die at sea. Today, it's a regulated 45-mile dream trip in Canada's Pacific Rim National Park. Only 30 hikers a day are allowed to start from the south at Port Renfrew and from the north at Bamfield. Hikers from around the world vie for those special permits to punish themselves for a week on a route that's like nothing else the average backpacker has ever seen. First, you must go through a mandatory orientation to be warned of the trail dangers. Then you must time your hiking to catch 2 small ferries across saltwater inlets along the route. 5 cable cars shuttle hikers across the major wilderness rivers or canyons, 2 at a time, often with the help of companions pulling the ropes. Sometimes, though, you simply have to remove your boots and ford a stream the old-fashioned way. The trail has 108 bridges ranging from short and solid as a trestle to a long, narrow suspension bridge that simulates a major earthquake as you walk. In addition to the bridges are countless logs and roots, forcing one to apply Olympic gymnastic skills to cross over rocky ravines, mud pits, and bogs. But even USA Shawn Johnson wasn't asked to cross a balance beam that's rounded, tilted, slickened by fog and rain, and greased with the mud of Vibram-soled boots. Most famously, the park's engineers have installed 38 ladder structures. Some of them have up to 5 stories of ladders that must be descended or climbed to negotiate steep gorges. If you want a taste of boot camp, hit the West Coast Trail ladders wearing a 40-pound pack. Speaking of taste, or bad taste, can anybody tell me what this pair of slugs is doing on a ladder 100 feet above a rocky beach? Back on the ground, the footing has more personality issues than Hannibal Lecter. A fast trekking boardwalk over a bog might gradually tilt slightly or deteriorate suddenly into a mud hole where the sun never shines. Sometimes the trail is an obstacle course through the roots of ancient trees, or a cobble of slick boulders above the ebbing tide, or a slog of gravel, or a mush of soft sand that makes a hiker's calves scream. Each year, during the May through October season, about 80 people require boat or helicopter evacuations from injuries sustained on the West Coast Trail. Mainly the injuries are from trips, slips, and falls. 5 evacuation missions were called in the 6 days I was on the trail in August. But my wife Meredith and our family friend Romney Redmond would hardly agree that the rewards outweigh the adversity. The wilderness experience is graced with a few surprise bursts of hospitality where the trail crosses First Nations land. Enterprising tribal members have learned that a belly-filling meal is a treat few hungry hikers can pass up. After a few days of Cliff Bars and instant oatmeal, a loaded cheeseburger and a beer for $25 is a bargain, and a rainy day break at the Nit-Nat Narrows ferry dock might be just what the doctor ordered. You can feast on fresh-caught crab, but Meredith and Romney opted for the fresh sockeye, which the operator caught that morning and filleted fresh upon their order. Most hikers were prepared for the trail's infamous wet weather. Experienced backpackers learned to cope with the rain, whether it's on the trail, at night in camp, or even in the morning when they look out of the tent and it's still raining. By my count, women were 5 times more likely than men to brave the cold, fresh waters to rinse off the trail grime. Most men were simply too chicken to be clean. West Coast Trail hikers never go far without a discovery. Shipwreck relics can be found. Shorebirds and sea ducks are constant companions. Colorful purple sea urchins, giant green anemones, shore crabs, and bazillions of California mussels and other tide-pool life tempt you to linger and flirt with the incoming tide. Whales could be seen each day, along with the occasional seal, but nothing captured my attention longer than the roar, the antics, and the posturing of sea lions at 2 prominent haul-out rocks. A large bull at one rock seemed to challenge and drive off the advances of every other male. At the other, we watched youngsters cavort with adults, while a group of male sea lions practiced their art of intimidation. And every night we camped on a beach. We made friends with other hikers over driftwood fires and shared tips from the best guidebooks. We slept to the soothing sound of the surf and the occasional deep bass horns of a passing ship or a distant lighthouse. Major campsites were adorned with the booty previous hikers had gleaned from the shore. Each site was a jewel to be personalized for the night. After 6 days, we'd met Scandinavians, Iranians, Russians, Germans, and a wide range of Canadians. We were a footloose family of sorts that shared the difficulty and the joy, as well as gear tips, route planning, stove fuel, and even floss. It pains me to think that I'd do it again in a heartbeat. This is Rich Landers for Spokesman.com.